hospitals, state hospitals, Emory hospitals, and their branches in all over the states. I think I have 5 states, which you asked us to do. These are the table of contents. So you can see revision, business problem solutions, in scope, out of scope, and technical design notes. So this is a revision history, initial document creation by Osebonsu, finally submitted for review and approvals by Clara Edith and James Smith. With Clara, Edith is the business owner, James Smith, the project sponsor. So this is the business problems. The BRD is captured. This BRD is to capture the business problem when within the healthcare system. Currently, not all healthcare costs are captured or paid under the traditional insurance coverage system. The BRD provides insight into the aspects into the healthcare, financing, identifying stakeholders, and profiling primary and secondary user communities. It identifies what capabilities the stakeholders and the target users need and why this need exists. So providing a focused overview of the request, constraint, and information technology options considered. So when it comes to the solution overview, you guys can see, we want to provide a medical service for those that the healthcare coverage does not cover. We want to provide a platform to partner the doctor and the hospital to initiate a borrower's application. We also want to come in as the alternative and then offer financing for these people. Come to the assumption the person should be working, the person should have a good credit score, the person should have insurance. Come to the risk, as we have the number 24, and there is a lack of proper regulatory, loss of data can be restored, a low quality design that results in future costs. And in scope, we ensure to build a provider portal, which is where the borrower application starts from. The doctors and the nurses at the hospital to be able to initiate the application for the patient. Out of scope, able to manage the AD banner and connect to the admin area. In scope is 1 and 2, but I decided to read 1. So we come to the requirement, this is on number 9. On the requirement, the business requirement, a registration sign-up form. The borrower or the patient must be available on the provider portal. It must include the doctor's phone number as well as the names and address of the hospitals. The borrower portal, come to the 2. The borrower portal must have a user ID, name and a password, as well as email address and telephone number. There must be a personal identification information that known by the hospitals and is personal in order to give the client confidence. A text message with a link will be sent to the client's email address. To proceed within the registration, the client must click on the embedded link. The client will have to change his or her password and will not be able to use the old one. When the user enters his or her information, it must be secured and protected. When the user enrolls with auto payment, this should be a discount of 14%. And the loan term is 15% if monthly manually payment is made and spread maximum 24 months. Guys, this is what I did. That's what I did initially. I was really confused. I didn't know where to even start from. So it's what I was able to do. I did. So I'm done. Any questions?
Hello, Isaac.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy Sunday. It's quite a straightforward presentation. The first thing I would like to I like the clarity in your presentation. I mean, you speak very clearly. Yeah. The first thing I want to do is like the approval side. Yeah. Approvals where we have approvals and you listed your name and yeah. So the approvals you said business owner and then project sponsor. So can you clarify who Clara Edith is and who James Smith is? Because I don't see the executive sponsor, right? Who I don't know from the early station we did, we could as well even call him maybe the CEO of ABC Financial. So we could even say he is a business owner, or let's say we say he's a project sponsor. But I don't see Mr. Samuel and Watson's name here, but rather I see Clara Edith and James Smith. So I don't know. It's quite confusing. From the if we're in the same meeting, then it means that this is a different stakeholder that you've done this, prepared this document for.
Yeah. Previously, I realized going through the previous presentation, I realized I was supposed to edit the name, our very own honest name over there. So this is what I thought I was doing the project. So next time I'll go by the stakeholders. In our stakeholders.
Oh, okay. And you see the revision history side, the versions. So yeah, so it's like the products that we are coming to work on now, right? This upgrade that we want to do for the embedded lending software or product. This is for this project. This is actually the version 1.0.
Yeah.
So I see for the version, yeah. So it's like we are on version 1.0.
Okay.
So yeah, if anything, from what I saw from Nane's template that he shared with us, if anything, the drafts, if you like, the drafts may be called 0.1, whilst this, like the finished BRD itself, if this is what it is, then it can be called 1.0.
Okay, I got it.
So that's quite cool. Yeah. And then so I well, like you've mentioned that, I mean, you were a bit confused at the beginning. So there are some things that I would want to ask, but I feel that but please, I believe you followed all the other presentations.
Yeah,
right?
I follow all the other presentations.
So I'm sure you've seen things that that you would. So I think like a lot of work can be added to the requirements. Somebody like Reed did a lot of how he put it in the tables, and he like the requirements, he put them there, like the use cases, everything in the table. It was quite clear and straightforward. Yeah. And I think Emmanuel Beve also did something like that in the table, quite clear. So you could pick a lot of
the previous presentation. I give you more insight into this, and I've learned a lot from it. So
So yes, so so all I think I'll say is that, so moving forward, you add that what we've learned from each other like that, and then so that's what I think I have to say.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Hello, Isaac.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please, I just wanted clarification on, I think, your assumptions. You said the person should have insurance. Yeah, so I'm a bit confused because I don't see how it correlates with, so maybe you could explain it better.
That's the third one. The person should have, okay, might be an oversight. Because they're rather seeking for insurance, rather, right?
Yeah, they're seeking for some sort of lending service.
So I think it might be a mistake over the oversight. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe you had somewhere you're going with it, so I could explain it. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Isaac, sorry, and then on assumptions, the person should be working on this. Does that have to do like maybe the credit score? Like,
Yeah, with the credit.
I mean, what if temporarily the person, like the person still has how do you call it?
Could I
Credit score, but
chip in something?
okay, yes.
From what I remember during the elicitation, we were told that the stakeholder told us that it doesn't matter if the person was working, but as long as they had a good credit score. Yeah, so that's what I remember. As if when yeah, so maybe
yeah. So please, Isaac, please, how many portals are you building? Was
it's supposed to
in the
okay. Portal, the borough portal bar, as I said on also.
Because I see that you spoke a lot about provider and borrower, but
and the requirements, right?
Yes. Yeah. So I see a lot about the registration and then the borrower portal and then the provider, the doctor also. But I don't see a lot. I actually don't see anything on the servicer portal and the lender portal at all. I mean, so I think, like as we said, you said that you've seen those things already and you add them. So so yeah, so yeah, that's it for me.
Yes, guys. Any question?
Yeah, Nana.
Mhm.
I have some question for Mr. Nanause. I think someone asked a question that about the assumptions if having the insurance was a requirement. And I also think having the insurance is a requirement. But if the person can clarify why they think the insurance is not a requirement so that we could understand.
okay. So during the elicitation, I remember we asked, or a question was asked, if we are supposed to check if the applicants are working or not, so that if maybe they are not working, we would deny them the lending service. But then we were told that that is not what we are concerned about. We are only concerned about the credit score because, well, I don't know how it works, but then with the credit score, it determines the person's ability to repay. So once the credit score is good enough, then we go forward with the lending. But then if you bring, so we are not involved in insurance. I don't think we are an insurance company. So our concern is not about insurance because the idea is that the companies, the procedures are not being covered by insurance. So you're not going to get insurance for veterinary. If that's what I'm thinking properly, the idea is that you're not getting insurance for veterinary services. So it would make no sense to say that then the person has to have insurance for veterinary services when the goal is that you don't have insurance in the first place. That is why we are coming in. That's why I feel it doesn't work with the assumptions.
Okay.
But if you have any other,
I think the assumptions point out what as the product manager, what he assumes. Do you get it? So I think he's just assuming that the patient has an insurance. And we when during the requirement elicitation, I quite remember that our stakeholder mentioned that like the client or the person coming for the loan to like that person, how do I even call it? The insurance is not covering the specific procedure, if you get me. So he made
when I made my point, I said if he has a direction in which he could
remember you said that,
he could explain what he means by the stakeholder the person should have insurance because
Yeah.
Depending on how he puts it, maybe it might make, because I wanted to get the clarity of what he.
You wanted to clarify why he put that there.
Yeah, why he put that there. So it wasn't necessarily me shutting the point down.
Oh yeah. I get you. But like I was just trying to understand, like him too, in the sense of maybe justifying that. It was mentioned that the person's procedure won't be covered by like the health insurance. So I think if the person's insurance cannot cover it, then I think the person already has an insurance. So I think that's why he put that there, but not to just. I was just trying to understand his point of view. Okay. So that was why. Yeah. But I think he also mentioned that
Sam Saliman. Okay.
Yeah, I was just trying to say that he made mention that he didn't understand a lot. So I think that's why.
Go ahead, Sam.
He has a lot of things to learn in his project.
Because I had a lot of questions.
But I think he would.
I feel like we've all seen a lot, so it's not necessary to ask.
But I think But I think he would add up, as he has seen. If we were given the opportunity to like review it and then make
we all do something different.
I think he would change some things. Yeah. But good job, Nana.
Thank you.
Hello, guys.
Hello.
If I can use this opportunity, I just like to say that sometimes with the English language, sometimes how we say things, like it can make it ambiguous, like the meaning may not be clear. So as much as possible, since it's a document that we're going to give to other people to read and review, and based on their understanding, they are going to give go ahead for us to work on. As much as possible, we should be sure that whatever we are saying is giving like the understanding we want it to have. Like this example that we were talking about, the insurance. Like from Sam's point of view, I get it clearly that I think it's just because of how it was put. That's how come Salim also thought, what is? So I mean, it's just general for all of us. So we should try.
But I think it could be more clarified with that point. It's true.
So, that's it. Okay, thank you.
But I think him not getting the whole concept, but getting some part of it is the probable cause of all that. So, but I think with more time, I think he would be able to pick up. And even can you scroll down a little? Let me check. Okay, so I can see the out of. Can you go to the out of scope? Oh, okay, so it's able to manage. Okay. That's okay. I think more work could be done. So, but kudos, you've done well. You've done well.
Yeah, kudos, man.
All right, guys. Looks like we don't have any questions for. We do not have any additional comments for Isaac. If that is correct, then Isaac, you have a lot of work to do. Okay?
Yeah, I can see that.
You have a lot of work to do. Usually, I will say one thing, that find somebody, pair up with somebody, so that you guys can work together with speed.
Okay.
All right, who's the next person? Like I said on the I said something the other day that first presentations, I don't really. It's an eye opener for a whole lot of you on the bridge. So just listening, watch others as well, take note, and then be inspired by their outputs, and then so the next time your work is going to be better as well. Yeah, that's how we learn.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, all right. Who's the next person? All right, who's the next person supposed to be presenting? So Isaac has presented. Emmanuel Tulabi.
I think it's Gideon Atinofori.
Gideon, okay. And then Emmanuel Tulabi. Do we have Emmanuel online? Is Emmanuel on?
I don't think so.
Okay. And then we have Ajay.
Yeah, William Ajay has already presented.
No, William has not presented yet.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I'm here to present.
Okay, go ahead. I think Emmanuel Labi just joined. I've seen him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's in.
Yeah, so you go ahead, William. Finish up with your presentation, and then Emmanuel Labi, you'll be the next person.
All right. Hi to everybody. So my name is AJ William Jr. and I'm here to present my business requirement document on healthcare finance, embedded lending for ABC Financial Group. Over here, we have our list of items we'll be talking about, our platform objectives, our introduction, the business problem, solutions overview, the risk, the out of scope, the requirements for patients, and so on and so forth. Healthcare providers, we have our signature agreements, our loan information, the hospitals, the platform administrator, the user account and rules. We also have the permissions, our data recovery, integration points, training, information security, and the application server hosting and support. So here we have the revision history and our approvals. So first, we need to find the objectives of the platform. And we can say that we seek to know what the platform will do. So this platform is a web-based that seeks to manage and automate healthcare finance and across multiple organizations. It's going to track patients' applications and provide online integration among providers, the borrowers, the services, and the lenders. The platform will have a user-friendly interface with advanced functionality whilst adhering to system integrations with external data sources and APIs. And again, best security practices will also be adhered to. So the main purpose of healthcare finance and all the embedded lending is to make funding available and also to set the right financial incentives to the providers to ensure that all persons have access to good healthcare. We have our business problem here. So the business problem was that healthcare in the US is expensive and not many people could afford it. Many people can't afford private healthcare insurance either. So again, the procedures such as vet, dental, med spa, the vision were some niche areas that many insurance companies did not cover. Then we have our solution overview. In the solution overview, ABC Financial Group will work with the providers to ensure that a provider portal be built where patients could start their loan application processes. So a provider portal will have to be built where the borrower's application will start from. And the portal will capture the vital information of the patient. So we have our name, the phone number, the email, the total procedure cost ranging from $300 to $20,000, the amount requested. We also have the commitment amount, the date of the procedure, and the healthcare providers information. And we also have over here, when the initial data gets submitted, an email and SMS will be sent to the patient. The email or SMS will be embedded with a link. The patient will be redirected to a secure page for a two-factor authentication. And a one-time password will be sent via SMS, and the patient will need to verify and proceed further with the application. The patient will need to enter their social security number, and then the credit score will be run, and with over here, patients or users with over 700 score and above would be accepted for the loan, and yeah. And then we also have here that depending on the amount of a patient borrows, the system will calculate how much the patient needs to pay monthly, using AI. We also have the borrower's portal, where the user will be able to log in and see the amount they borrowed, their auto payment process, their payment history, and other relevant information or vital information. And we also have the servicer portal. Yeah, the servicer portal for the admin, where should in case a user made an error with the loan application process, an operation team member will reach out and assist the user. Yes. And then again, we have the lender portal feature that will have all the banks and lenders of ABC Financial Group to fund the loans of the patients. And lenders will be able to see who have accessed the loans, payment history, credit scores of patients, and amount of loans disbursed. For our risk, we have here cybersecurity. So briefly, ABC Financial Group will invest in high-end technology to support monitoring of network systems. So we will also adhere to patient privacy policy and have prepared measures for incident response plan. We have our out of scope, which was basically a research done, to determine the out of pocket of health expenditure as of total health expenditure. We also have a requirements section that outlines the functionality that the platform should provide, more or less a process flow of what every entity should perform. So right here, we have a patient where they will have their account details, and they can perform various functions within the platform. And so the patient, will search for a healthcare provider. So like this is just like a flow chart of how things should, go on the platform. So the patient will visit ABC Financial Portal, will click on find a healthcare provider, will specify the search criteria and the type of the procedures, he or she wants, the location, the services desired, the view search results, healthcare providers details, star rating, patient reviews, number of procedures completed, distance away, and service radius and service that has been provided. Yes. And then the search results can be done by name, distance, and star ratings. So the patient will click to contact the healthcare provider either by phone or send a message through the platform, an online form. Then the platform sends an email to the healthcare provider on behalf of the patients, and then the provider can opt out of this option if they choose to only display their phone number. And we have the second option for the patient. So here there are two ways patients could apply for a loan, either directly with the provider or using the loan application center. So applying directly with the provider provides the patient with instructions on how and where to start with the application process. Then the second is the patient applies directly on ABC's financial website. So ABC's portal may also facilitate patient and loan selection by providing a range of amounts a patient can borrow for specific procedures and its interest rates respectively. And the provider provides patients with pre-approval decision, not over 60 days into the future. Applying via the loan application center. So the provider provides the patient with instructions on how and where to apply for this centralized loan. The patient completes an online form, and then the provider provides an instant application decision, usually within 10 minutes using AI. Then we have our patients, the rate and review healthcare providers. So with this flow chart or the flow process, the patient receives an automated email from the platform after the procedure has been done. The patient can click a link in the email to visit the rating and review page of the platform. It does not require patients to log in, so their procedure and provider are automatically displayed. The patient can rate their provider on a scale of 1 to 5, can also provide additional free form notes or comments, the patient's name, phone, and email. And the patient can choose either to provide his name or not, or phone number or email. It's all up to the patient. The patient then submits the review form. The platform will then notify ABC Financial Group that a new review has been submitted. Keep the review in the moderation queue. ABC approves the review. The review is now visible on the search page. And then the patient's first name is displayed along with date of their review. We have the healthcare providers portal. So over here, the provider applies to join the platform. So when you're a provider and you want to join the platform, you must visit the portal of ABC. You click on apply, you provide, it's prompted to either log in or you create an account where we need your email and your password and your name. And then you fill out the online application form. Then you select the procedures that you are interested in. We do a background information. You actually submit your background information, your legal business name, your DBA name, your federal tax ID, or your social security number, your business entity type, your primary business address, primary mailing address, phone number, fax number, email address, website URL, your location, your street info, basically almost everything about your business, insurance, expiration date, your proof of insurance, and so on and so forth. Then we also have our signature agreement, where the contents and terms required in the provider's agreement may vary by the organization. So this section should be integrated with the platform, where after patient users, whoever submits any required document can sign and can agree, can append their signatures to it. Yeah. And we have a use case diagram here. So the draft gets submitted, the in review gets approved, whether it's being rejected, then what kind of procedures you do, whether A or B. We have a flow process here for the healthcare provider. So as a healthcare provider, you can equally search for jobs. It's not always that the patient must come to you. You can also equally search for jobs. So you can visit the job space, search for a job, the criteria of the job status, the patient's name, the address, the procedure name that you want, the amount involved, the loan status, and so on and so forth. We have the loan information here too, where the platform should auto-populate this field like whenever possible based on data from the lenders and the loan application. We have the procedure cost here and the total cost, the patient's down payment amount, the total amount also financed must also be a feature on the platform. Then the lender updates loans, where the participating lenders are required to update loan status information in the platform as often as possible. We also have the lender feature, where as a lender, you could also verify the healthcare provider, So as a lender, you know which to do your own verification on the healthcare provider involved in the procedure. So you can also visit the provider page. You search for provider. You click on the provider, and then you view their basic information. So as a lender, you can also upload your loan data file. So the platform requires lenders to upload their loan data as often as possible, at least monthly, so that this will allow the platform to provide status information and notifications to all parties involved on the procedure. So we have the processes here that will be on the platform. So you visit the loans page, the view list of current loans. The platform is tracking. You click the upload data file button. Then you provide a CSV or an Excel formatted, loan data file. This should be a standardized format. You click on submit. Then the platform will process the loan data and update its own database of loans, and including a status and remaining balance. It will also automatically match up each loan to the appropriate procedure in the platform, so that the procedures and loans are related to each other. We have our hospitals or the organizations. So the hospital users should be able to perform any function in the platform on behalf of any other user, if needed. And the organization's users can see all data across their entire organizations. So they would typically use the same screens in the platform as the other types of users, but they just see more data and have more functionality enabled on each screen. So over here, they can see their program, their campaign that they are running, and their various healthcare providers and their various applications, their procedures. They can also see the loans, the patient's accounts, and so on and so forth. We have the platform administrator feature also here. So as a platform administrator, you should be able to onboard new hospitals or healthcare providers, anyone. So platform administrator should be able to onboard these new organizations from within the platform. Then user account and rules. Because we'll be capturing very sensitive information. So obviously there'll be other users on the platform, maybe from the government or from any other entity. We would check and see whether we are complying to the rules and we are not using the data we are acquiring for any other reason. So over here, all non-patients functioning in the platform will require a valid user account. So we have the user account data here for the email, password and your name and the organization you come from. We have the user rules over here. So the role assigned to each user will determine their user type and access permission. So rules are either auto assigned by the platform or set by a platform administrator. And we have the processes here. Then we have our permissions. So in general, security permissions will be determined by the user's role or account type. However, the following additional filters should apply. The provider can only see their own procedures and loans, and lenders can only see their own loans. We have data recovery. So each major data entity, whether the procedure, the provider, the patient loan, should have the ability to be undeleted if it was mistakenly removed by a user in the platform. So this feature should be used by either a platform administrator or a healthcare provider or hospital or any person who has access to it. We have our integration points over here, where the following are integration points to be developed in the platform. So the platform should allow integrations to be enabled or disabled, and for each hospital independently. So we have our loan application, we have a loan application data, we have a lender, we have a lender's loan data file here, our CSV file format or an Excel, then the payment processor, which could be that Stripe, Braintree, Authorite, PayPal, or any other. Then we might be able to sync the provider contact data, the name and email into CRM. Let's to enable marketing automation, such as email newsletters. Then we have our training. So once the platform is built, there has to be training for key stakeholders. That they must be taught on how it works and how, how it works in, and it can be done through videos, guides, any other training materials or manual that we can share for them, so we can train them on how the platform works. We have our information security over here, where because the platform will be, storing very sensitive information, such as the personal identifiable information of the users or various users, and other vital informations. ABC Financial Group would have to adhere to the service and the service and organization controls security framework to ensure that we comply to the rules and framework of everything we are doing or we have to do. Then we have our application server hosting and support, where whichever vendor we settle on must also adhere to these rules, must apply the server security updates and patches, must maintain compliance with information security section as described earlier in this document, perform uptime monitoring and response, daily backups of the application file and database to an offsite and redundant location. Proactive upgrades to the technology stack, application error monitoring, on-call support during business hours, maintaining a separate staging server for testing new features before they are pushed to the platform. So basically, this was my business requirement document. I'm on standby if anybody has any questions. Thank you.
Wow. Hello, William.
Yes, sir.
Wow, I I have to be honest, like your your work strikes me as like somebody with a lot of understanding of what he's doing here, because I think like some of the technical details that I'm seeing, like it's quite eye-opening actually. Yeah. And I see a lot of database stuff in there. So it's like, wow, this person really knows what should go into this, into the platforms and everything like that. Right. So I want to commend you on that. Like I like that you, like anybody who looks at the document will see that okay, this person
Grateful.
has understanding what he's doing here. So that's the first thing I want to say. I want to commend you. Please, can you go to the very first page, like approval side? I mentioned something to Isaac. I wanted to think I saw a similar thing there. So,
Approval.
yeah,
Yeah.
like the yeah, yes. Yes. So please, who is Karalise or Keralisi?
Yeah, so please, over here, I think because it was the first review, so I didn't place much effort in the revision history and approval. So in looking at the previous presentations that have happened, yes, the next review, I'm going to pay attention to this side in particular.
Okay. Well, I think one of the most important names that should appear here is the name of the executive sponsor. And he doesn't appear. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Please, you're out of scope. If you could just enlighten me, it looks a bit different. You said there was a research that you.
Yes, it was. This out of scope is basically not part of the requirement of the project. It was just a research done in America where they wanted to find the out-of-pocket health expenditure. So it's not really part of what's the platform. What's required of the platform. Basically that.
Okay. So you brought it in here to show that okay, these things listed
like
here.
It's just a
not going
research. Exactly.
So you're just saying that they are not going to be part of the product you are delivering.
Yes,
but somebody else did something and it was there. If I get you right.
It was just a research done in America, and because it's out of scope, so I just thought to bring it there. So to just make the whole the business requirement documents more appealing. Let me put it that way. So it's not basically part of the. It's not basically part of the requirements of the document.
Okay. Okay. So all right. Anyways, can we let's go to your requirement itself, the very first part.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So. Okay. So So here I see that the first thing you said that on the patient. So the patient would search for a healthcare provider. So I mean, from my point of view, from your presentation, it's initially sounded as if you were saying that the patient initiates the whole process. Is that it? Like who is initiating the process? Because what I want to understand why the patient is
initiating the process. Okay, great. Yeah. So it's a platform we are building, and there are two ways a patient can request for a loan. Either through the healthcare provider or the patient goes to the platform by himself or herself to apply for the loan.
Oh, okay. All right. The reason why I said this is because I mean, from the Please, were you in the elicitation meeting with the stakeholder?
Yes, please.
Okay, because from that meeting or the meetings, what I recall is that the policy is that the provider initiates the loan application process.
Okay.
So when a patient goes to the provider, like maybe their healthcare provider, it could be like personally, maybe a doctor, or it could even be hospital in general, right? But once
Yes,
to the provider, whether it's a doctor or the hospital, the provider sees the need for that patient. The patient makes it known that my insurance cannot cover this, and I would need a loan for this. Because from the elicitation, we understand that ABC as an entity already has lenders on the side, right? And even
Yes,
providers, there's a number of providers that there is some form of agreement with. So even we spoke about like having a list of providers down already. So we know people that we are working with, even in the initial stage. So for the patient to come to the place of needing a loan, the whole thing starts with the provider who enter into the provider platform, right? The doctor, hospital, and they start the process.
Yes.
So they enter the first things about the patient. So the patient provides their name and their contacts and the email, so that when the provider enters their details, right? So automatically in the system or from the services end, an email or a text can now be sent to the contact that was provided by the patient or the borrower.
Yes.
So that from that side, the patient or the borrower can continue with the application, by then maybe clicking on the link in the text to register, where we spoke about using the tool for the person, like the time window for the person to actually continue with the registration or maybe not do it. All of that easy. So I think from the stakeholders' point of view, because what you've done is also quite, yes, I think it can be built. But however, I don't think that is what the stakeholder
said. It's true. You are right. You are right. I was just trying to be more creative, but you are right.
More creative. Okay.
Yeah.
So I maybe at the end, but because this is a review, right? Maybe the stakeholder may be impressed by it and even want to implement it. So that's the first, and that's my point.
Sure,
so then, can you scroll down a bit? I saw something about the provider. Yes, I think somewhere there was a place where you mentioned the provider makes an application decision. I don't know whether it's at the top or basically said that the provider would think to be at the top. It's not down here. To be at the top. So because he said something like when the patient finishes with the application, then no, it's in the requirements. Then the provider will make an application decision. So I think while we look for it, so I was thinking that, or maybe could it be that you wanted to say servicer, but rather said provider, because I was not sure. I mean, as we look for it,
that had to do with the parts with the two application, the part where you had the two application methods. That's where I think it was.
Wait. I think I've seen it.
No, and I think it had to do with the second application method.
No, please wait here. Please wait here. Wait here. You see where the mouse is?
Yes,
provider provides patient with instructions on how and where to apply for the centralized loan. Patient completes an online form. Provider provides an instant application decision within 10 minutes usually. Yeah. So this side, maybe you may want to start from the first one so that. This point 3, applying directly with a provider. So a provider provides patients with instructions on how and where to start the process. Patient applies directly on ABC's financial web. I think that's what we just talked about anyways. So
Yes,
down
exactly.
here is that provider can provide patients with pre-approval decision. Okay, we understand this one. It should be 60 days, yes, fine. So here, provider provides patients with instructions on how and where to apply for the centralized loan. Patient completes an online form. Provider provides an instant application decision using AI algorithm. Like, I mean, because I didn't say
Yes.
anything else on
I
how
think
the
it's
decision is made.
I think it's an oversight. Yeah, so
Okay.
sorry about that. It's an error.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Could
please,
I chip in
who?
something before you continue concerning
Yes,
this?
sir.
Yeah, because when I saw it, I was thinking it was related to the second application in which the person would apply online so that the provider would then approve that application since they will not be doing it from the provider. That was how I understood it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know if that was where you're going or it was something else completely. And I like to say it's not very
It's supposed to be the
Not very
servicer,
clear.
rather.
Okay.
Yes, it's
not
supposed to be
very
the
clear.
servicer. It's an error there. So sorry about that.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I think I like Salim. Salim actually made me understand it clearly. If that was how I'm glad you've clarified it now, because I think the credit score checking by Equifax was not. You didn't quite mention that, because we know that even the checking of the credit score is the reason why we're going to be doing that integration of the API, right? So that
Yes, sir.
Equifax can help us to do that credit score checking. So that automatically the system automatically can make a decision that, okay, you are below 700, so therefore you are not eligible for a loan. So that
Yes.
part is not clear.
Yes. So as I'm saying, it's a first review, so I'm sure in further reviews, I'm going to add more information to that.
Okay, yes, true. Okay, another thing you mentioned, you said provider search jobs. It's under one of the requirements. It's below.
Yes.
From the understanding I got from the presentation, you mean the providers they look for more patients?
So you see, as a healthcare provider, it's not always that the patient has to come to you. You can equally also look for jobs. So in the case where patients apply via the platform, right? Okay. So as a provider, you can also search for jobs. So if patients apply via the platform, you could also go there and find out, which kind of procedures you are interested in. Then you can go ahead with them if you want to opt for it.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, William. Okay, I think this one goes hand in hand with how you started the requirements, like what we just spoke about. I'm sure that's why this is also implemented, because of from your point of view, the patients being able to apply by themselves from the beginning. So okay, I understand from that side. Okay. The other thing, you said there are organizational hospital users.
Yes.
Who are those exactly?
You see, since because we'll be capturing very vital information, it's not only going to be healthcare providers and maybe the hospitals, then the services or the lenders and so forth. There'll be other users, of course. There'll be other users who would want to, have access to the platform, like to maybe verify, whether we are being we are adhering to the rules and the laws of the land and so on and so forth.
Okay.
So it's the reason why I actually created room for such people, other users. And with America, they have laws. You can't share private information, healthcare stuff with other people. So like definitely there'll be other users who would want to verify just to check if everything is in order.
Okay. But if I am, if can you go to that side? Because I think that the explanation you're giving is quite different from like the things that you stated under the organization or hospital users. Because I think I saw something like they had more, no, it's down. They had control over other users. Yeah, I think this part, yes. No. 2 steps to the top. Yes, organizations and hospitals.
Yes, sir.
Yes, so like organization and hospital users should be able to perform any function in the platform on behalf of any other user. Organization users can see all data. Yes, if needed, they can see all data across their entire organization. So you said like organization or hospital, right?
Oh, hospital, yes, sir. So yeah, what actually meant was that with healthcare providers, I'm sure you come from some hospital, one way or the other.
Yeah.
So you cannot do any procedure, maybe perhaps all by yourself. Should in case something happen, you might also put the hospital where you come from into disgrace or something. So as a hospital, as an entity, wherever the healthcare provider comes from, I think that hospital must also have the power to also do certain things on the platform. So to also have access to the platform if need be.
Okay. But from the stakeholders, the elicitation stakeholder, he actually said that on the provider portal, it could be a hospital or like a doctor, like a healthcare provider themselves, right? So which means so it's in my mind, it just begs the question that does it mean that every single, if it's a doctor, then there has to now be a different there should be in a way, because of how you are saying it's like they have it's like their permissions or control is higher. It's a bit like administrative supervisory over what the doctor is doing. But from my understanding of the whole platform, it's simply a way that we want to get money to patients to be able to do procedures. So it's like provider introduces the person and the person continues the application. We see that, yes, we want to give money to this person or loan out money to this person. So yes, we approve it. The provider who, should I say, recommended or started the process for the person sees that, okay, this is approved. The borrower also sees that, yes, it's approved. So they go on, procedure is done. Already in the whole application, the borrower has to accept the terms of conditions, right? Terms and conditions. How we expect payment to be done. Because we said stakeholder said we're going to integrate like the payments gateways, right? How the payment is supposed to be done. So the borrower already knows that, yes, I'm going to pay this way and everything. And I believe that the provider would also be able to see this, that, okay, yes, it is approved, and perhaps the borrower has been given 24 months, right, to be able to pay and all that. So the place of now developing something where like in quote organization and hospital users also having a role on the platform. That is why
on the platform, yes, it's true. Yes, it's true. What you're saying is actually true. But again, as I said earlier, yes, you can go ahead, please.
Please go ahead, William.
Okay, so I was saying that it's true. Whatever you are saying is true.
Oh, can I?
But I said earlier that I was just trying to be creative. So
okay, yeah. Okay, that's cool. And if I may, the servicer portal, which deals with the operational side of things. So ABC, like when the stakeholders said we should build the platform, said the servicer portal is going to be should I say, manned or used by ABC Financial Service themselves, their, let's say, their IT team, right? And within that, there's definitely going to be like different levels of authorization for their users. Perhaps their IT manager is going to have a higher level of authorization, right? Permissions than maybe one of his assistants in there. And then there are going to be people there who are going to deal with like operational stuff. Let's say issues that are quite tricky, maybe even with support, right? Support for the different users, whether it's a lender, like a bank that is financing the whole, the financing the thing, right? Or maybe the providers who have, maybe they have issues, or maybe even a borrower having an issue. So I think that to an extent, the servicer portal, or from this point, like ABC Financial Services, their IT may have more, like in terms of administration, how to be able to help the organization, the providers who have signed up with them to use the platform. I think that they may have a higher role to play in that regard. Yeah, but I like how you're creative about the whole thing. Yeah, like I said in the beginning, like when I saw the thing, I was like, wow, this person really has a lot of understanding into this whole thing. So yeah, so I mean, I think that it's because you are creative that I've seen something that I said that, okay, that's not really what the stakeholder said, but like you've shown that like you really have understanding into the thing generally. So yes, I think I'll pause here. Maybe some others. So I want to commend you on all of that. I think some others may have comments. Yeah. Once again, great work. Thank you.
I'm grateful, boss. So
hello, William.
Yes, sir.
Sorry that I'm coming back again. I'm sure that you've seen the other presentations. So please don't forget to put in the technical side. I mean, the language that we're going to use for the front end, the back end, you know, the AWS, all of those things, so that the stakeholder will know exactly what you're going to use to build a portal for him. So that's it. Thank you.
Sure. All right.
Okay. All right. In the absence of further, I'm not sure if anybody else. Yeah, but that was a great presentation, William, right? Yeah, William. Yeah, that was a great, thorough presentation. I like, what you're thinking. You're thinking. It's good. You're thinking about so many other things, which is okay. So thank you. All right, Emmanuel Labi, let's go. Ibanolabi, it looks like you're still muted. So if you want to mute yourself so we can hear you. Ibanolabi, you will have to. I think I'm sure you are talking, but it looks like you are muted. So go ahead and unmute yourself. No, the screen that you are sharing is okay. I'm even helping you. I've sent you a request to unmute, so you can simply click on.
Thank you. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you so much. Yes, I think I have some technical challenges with the screen. Thank you so much. Yes, and also I want to apologize for joining the class late, and I want to say thank you to stakeholders and reviewers who are here today. Yes, so this is a business requirements document, and it's on the healthcare insurance claim, and it's a web portal prepared by the senior product manager Emmanuel Tulabi. The version is 1.0, and then the creation date is November 1, 2021. ABC Financial Group is located 80 Jersey Hill Drive in Atlanta, GA 30303. The purpose of this document is to capture the business requirements of a project, and we are saying here that for any change management to occur, you have to refer to this ABC project methodology, and you can't do anything without consulting this very document. Here we have the table of contents, business problems, solutions overview, assumptions, risk, in scope, out of scope, requirements, wireframes, technical design notes, estimation points, and decisions. Great. So for the initial history, there's not much to talk about because it is the initial draft and we are working on. After this is done, we are going to implement or include the history. Approvals. Those approvals, we are looking at the business owner, the project sponsor, and then myself, the senior product manager, who is also the author of this document. Yes, so together we came together as a team to build this document, and as the stakeholder rightly said, it is an engagement with providers, and we need a lot of providers and other individuals to really partner with us on this project. So as a team, we took the pain to really engage or get to these individuals. So if you look here at the additional reviewers, you can see the providers. So in Atlanta, Georgia, we went to 5 facilities, the Piedmont West Hospital. And one thing that we decided to also do was to get to the key individuals who are the leaders or the heads of these institutions. So at Piedmont, we spoke to the administrator, we spoke to the head of the medical doctors, we spoke to some nurses, the billing head, accountants, legal head, compliance, IT, and all those guys to be able to really appreciate what we are bringing on board and also accept the concept and then run with it. And then also in the same Atlanta, Georgia, Emory University Hospital, we did that. We went on to Northside Hospital in Atlanta, Georgia, and for each of the states, we took the pain to meet all these guys to be able to interact with them. So, same in South Atlanta, we went on and on. Then now we came to Florida, Tampa General Hospital, Advent Health, Mayo Clinic in Florida, Mayo Clinic again, Mountain Plains. So for all of these places, Sarasota, Alexander Hospital, North Carolina, North Carolina, yes, we met them and all that. Yes, so we go on and on. For all the 5 states, we decided to meet a lot of these guys to be able to engage with them. And it was a recruitment task, but it had to be done. Yeah, so Boston Medical Center in Massachusetts, on and on and on. Great. So moving on quickly, we then come to the references. Now, what are project artifacts? The project artifacts are basically the requirements or the supporting documents and artifacts that we need for the project. And if you look here, you can see documents name, file, the author, and then the date that it was given or the day that we got it. Hospital billing template, we got it from the billing head. And then the BMC here is the Biomedical Center. There is a research institution that gives a lot of approvals and then does a lot of research in the medicine and then biomedical stuffs. So BFC provider registration form, you can see BFC, the operational head also helped with the document, and then the lender registration form by the finance head. Now, project repository, we're just looking at a collection point where all these documents and other artifacts that we will need will be stored. So the repository is basically the locations where we would be able to get this. And then for the borrower form, you can find it at www.abcfinancialservices.com/borrower form.pdf. The introduction, what is the concept? Why do we have this document? We have this document, and the purpose for this document basically is to ensure that business clients and project team have a common understanding of what we are about doing, the business requirement, that the business client, project team, we are all on the same page and we understand what we are doing. It also helps us, as I said, to initiate or begin any change management. For you to do any change management, you cannot do without this. This is a baseline document and a requirement that you need to be able to do that. And then it also forms as the foundation of the system requirements, project plan, architecture, design, and all that. Responsibilities. Now, the responsibility of the project manager, the business analyst, clients, project team, and all to be able to come up with this. And I want to recommend and commend them for the good work they did together with me. Now, the business program, the core of this is what we are saying. The ABC Financial Group is an embedded lending institution. We offers services in partnership with various vendors, such as banks, to provide credit for many clients. They provide access to home improvement supplies on credit with an installment payment plan from among other services. ABC wishes to apply this same principle to financial services, to client, this same principle of financial service and to clients or patients who wish to undertake procedures or treatments which are not covered by traditional insurance agencies. This would require the partnership of lending agencies who would pre-finance and profit share with ABC Financial Services. We are saying that we are healthcare providers who will recommend the service to customers, initiate the application process on the providers portal, and then ABC would need a platform to automate the entire process between all the respective entities. And that is why we are here to present to you our initial drafts for you to see what we have. Now, solutions overview. What we are saying we want to give you is an online platform with both front end and back end interfaces, front and back end interfaces and portals which will be developed to cater for the manager agency, the healthcare provider, the servicer, which is ABC, and then the patient, which is the borrower. Now, we have 6 portals. 6 portals. Now, the lender portal, the servicer portal, the provider portal, the borrower portal, some APIs for the payment gateways, and then the API also for the borrower gateways. Now, we are saying that the lender portal will enable a lender to activate agreed funds to an escrow account. So the lender will send money to the escrow account, and then the servicer portal will also allow for monitoring evaluation of applications. Not further review will be done. The amount issue processes started, the processes that are pending, other analytics and reports. Provider portal will also enable institutions start the process. That is the provider, whether a doctor or whoever has the authority to do that, will initiate the whole process and when confirming patients for funds and then other required data that will be needed and then reports generated to be able to kickstart the process for the borrower. The borrower portal will enable patients to apply for cover, monitor payments, as well as providing required analytics and reports. Now, the APIs here are to help establish the payment gateways and then escrow accounts to enable providers transfer funds as well as escrow and move funds from the escrow account onto the providers. And then an API also will be created for the borrower for lower payments to be transferred to a receiving account irrespective of the bank they use. Now, there's a short use case to give the entire process in short or in summary. The lender connects escrow, the provider or the doctor will issue a request. The borrower will receive SMS and trigger the sign-up application. Servicer profiles the borrower. If borrower meets requirements based on credit score, then approved. If not, is declined. If approved, the servicer portal will auto-trigger a request and then send to the escrow to credit provider. After crediting provider, the procedure is done. Borrower begins to make installments in payments, whether automated or manually, towards the receiving bank. And then the servicer will credit the lender with the principal that they gave and then 40% of interest as their profits. Now, I could only come up with an assumption, and the assumption was that there is an existing relationship between ABC, lenders, and healthcare providers, and that is the assumption I could come up with. Now, risk. Cyber and information security attacks, and we are saying that this attack we can manage by security, by hosting providers and developing standards and certificates that are applied in codes and then also in database development. So that is how we are going to mitigate it. And then in the event the borrower passes on, that is also a very high risk that can happen in scope. Or in scope, provider portal, lender portal, servicer, borrower, escrow accounts, the bank's API, and then the credit bureau API. So that is what we are out of scope. XYZ marketing agent portal, extra funds request functionality, interfacing other vendors aside healthcare providers, and then API with provider registry to auto stop debit when the provider is no more. So when the borrower is no more. Requirements. The purpose of requirements is basically to know what, or the business functional requirement is to know how the system is expected to do, and not necessarily how. So I'll be taking us through the business functional requirements. That is what our system will do and what it will provide. The provider portal will be able to, or the provider portal will do these things to help the user do the user privileges to create, modify, delete data. It will help with data analytics. It will help with reports approval, healthcare provider billing, accounts interface with admin, approval after the doctor's requests. It will also help to interface, it will provide an interface to ensure that the doctor requesting for the facility or the loan still works with the provider. And then if the user loses password, require two-factor authentication. And then the provider receives $600,000 in escrow for disbursement. Lender portal. A lender portal will also give privileges to create, modify, delete. If you lose your password, you can require for 2FA analytics report. Servicer portal will help the user create, modify, delete. The servicer portal will pre-populate the lender list. It will also trigger SMS to clients upon provider initiation. So when the provider makes the initial request and you go through, and then an SMS is triggered by the servicer portal to the borrower, and then the SMS gateway integration criteria for NFR algorithm aside 700 credit score. So we will further review if you are unable to meet the 700 credit score, and perhaps there is a need to look at your document. There is an algorithm that will be embedded to be able to help you do that. Trigger funds transfer from escrow upon pass. So once you pass the requirements, then there will be a trigger to send money to the escrow account. Installment calculator is 24 months, which we are going to regularly update. Procedure day shouldn't be more than 60 days in advance. So if your treatment or procedure is 60 days away or more than 60 days away, you will not be considered because the procedure shouldn't be more than 60 days away before you make a request. If automatic option is chosen, 14%, if manual, 15% interest rate. So we are going to encourage from our next point, we are saying that there will be a mechanism to ensure that clients stay on automated payment interface with borrower financial API. And then we are also saying here that interface to stop debiting auto-sign clients in the event they are no more, since they are not liable in their debt. TNC's policies will be clearly stated. Analytics reports. If you uses password 2FA, lender per state and per hospital system, will all be on the servicer, so that we are able to, and I think the stakeholder made mention of that, that because of that mechanism, it is going to help with especially the payments and also disbursements. Decision making, AI, machine to approve qualified or NFR instances, and then remitting quarterly. Now, the borrower portal will give the user privilege to create, modify, delete, repopulate the provider portal, ability to see providers' input but cannot edit, key functions or key fields, phone number, password, and then your account details, 2FA. And here the 2FA is such that you're given a validation sent to you on your phone number, and then a one-time password will be sent to you so that you can just enter it. So 2FA validation, here we are using your phone number. The number you provided or give to the provider. We send you a text, then you enter the OTP you are sent to be able to give you access. Personal data, mandatory fields. Yes, your first name, last name, phone, email. These are the mandatory fields we are going to establish. The name is optional. Now, one key thing here on the borrower portal will be the total cost of the total procedural cost, which will be between $300,000 to $40,000, and the maximum here is $40,000. Amount being requested field, yes, where you put the amount you want to, and then also amount that you are going to pay. That's your commitment amount. Out of the amount you want, how much are you ready to commit yourself as a borrower? Ability to choose automated payment or manual, procedure date not over 60 days, payment history. After application process, create account. We are then going to pre-populate the address, the hospital, city, zip, and all these data to the provider portal. If you want this password, require email verification, quarterly reconciliations of the accounts, and then I'm going to ensure that provider details, you can see provider details, but cannot edit them. Now, this logger to escrow API will also give user opportunity to modify delete dates to trigger transfer, and then 2FA requests. And then escrow to, this is from the escrow to the provider where the transfer will be done. Measures to monitor and prevent overdraft interface between server backend to trigger the transfer. And if user loses password, require 2FA. And then we're looking at the ABC profit sharing and the principal return. So we are doing a 60-40 profit sharing algorithm where 60% goes to ABC and then the 40% goes to the lender, and then return of principal going back to the lender, and then automated dates to trigger returns. Now, credit bureau API, and we are using Equifax as clearly stated to receive input from the servicer portal and then respond to do the credit score. So the request will come from that API. Equifax will quickly check, we run the score, and then we will furnish it to the servicer portal, and then it will continue. Payment gateways API integration, and then here we are saying that accessing general portal logins, from this site www.abcfinancial.com. So this URL will help you to be able to access all logins and others. Now we're looking at the non-functional requirements. The non-functional requirement, business non-functional requirement. What are the non-functional requirements? We are saying that there will be a username policy which will have a minimum of 5 characters and a maximum of 12 characters. Then the password will require alphabet, special characters. It will also require a minimum of 8 and a maximum of 25 characters. That is for the password. It will allow a maximum of 500,000 concurrent users. And disaster recovery strategy will be implemented, whether long-term, short-term. We are going to implement all these disaster recoveries for recovering any unforeseen issues. Information security measures, preventing SQL injection, remote code execution, cross-scripting XSS, and then insufficient login. Yes, cybersecurity measures to prevent breaches such as misconfiguration vulnerabilities, data server resources, out of date server resources and inadequate cloud security. Each portal should load fully within 5 seconds with a minimum bandwidth requirement of 200 kilobits per second. SMS must be received within 3 seconds. So these are some of the non-functional requirements that we came up with for review. Now, we came up with some external interface requirements that we will need to integrate into the system. And then basically we are saying these are the interfaces that we are going to work together for each iteration of work, for each period of work. We would need some of these APIs to be able to run smoothly the system. Now, the first one is lender to escrow institution API. So the lender to escrow institution. And here, I've mentioned some of these functionalities already, but the key interface here we are talking about is that lender to escrow. Then escrow to the provider, okay, to prevent overdraft and all that, and then initiate or trigger the transfer. And then the 60-40, we've said that API, we've said that also. So payment gateways, we are going to use ACH, debit, PayPal, Android, Apple Pay, and all that. And then SMS gateways to be established. Now, we're looking at some governance requirements, data governance requirements. And we came up with this write-up because we understood the point of the stakeholder when he made mention that when it comes to issues of compliance and governance or government issues, we need to be very critical. So we took this draft from governments where it states basically some of the standards, the policies, the procedures in terms of activities you want to engage in to ensure integrity, to ensure accessibility, availability, consistency, and all that, and the quality of data and all that. We've just stated it in summary, to be able to deal more efficiently with data and also satisfy the needs of our stakeholders within and outside the organization. Yes, so the compliance against standards, policies, procedures, and responsibilities must respect the different levels of compliance as required by the organization, which were defined by the data usage and its respective level of data classification by this institution called the Enterprise Data Governance Office. So that is where we got this summary to be able to guide us in terms of our data guidance and in terms of our data requirements and procedures. Now, I came up with this wireframe just to depict some form of interface we're going to encounter or see when we go to these various portals. So the servicer portal, the borrower portal, the provider portal, the lender portal. So the servicer portal, a button for you to be able to search or get to know how much you owe and all that. Borrower portal, being as a borrower, uploading your details, images and all that, and then provider portal to be able to get data on the patient, search on the data, and then the lender portal as well. Now, those are technical design or our notes. Now, the client tools require, as a client, for you to be able to access our website, what do you need? The fundamental thing is internet. You need to be connected, first of all, to the internet, and then you should have more preferably a Chrome browser or any other browser is supported. A hosting platform to be hosted by Amazon Web Services, AWS, SMS Gateway. We are using Google Firebase or Twilio. External interfaces, RESTful API. Our database will be MongoDB. Front-end Angular, back-end language will be Node.js. Payment gateways, as stated, Amazon Pay, ACH, PayPal, among others. And then the APIs, we are looking at Equifax lender escrow interface, escrow provider interface, servicer escrow interface. So these are the connections or the interconnected APIs we would establish. Now, I came up with this simple representation or figure to show how communication together from the provider or the lender. So from here, you can see provider, borrower, lender, servicer. So depending on the end device you are using, whether a PC or a tablet or a mobile phone, you make your request, enter the URL, the AWS server would, or AWS would run the program, depending on whether it's an SMS payment gateways, whatever you want to do, and then it quickly connects you. If you are accessing the provider portal, it comes here. If you are accessing lender, borrower, ABC Financial, whatever be it that you are doing, this is just a small representation looking at the databases and then also the servers that will help run the program or help run for you. Also, I came up with this back-end interactions. So on the provider portal, you are able to connect and then request for 2FA, a new password, email verification, confirming password. On the lender portal, you can equally do that. Escrow institution can equally also request for 2FA password change and all that. Servicer portal can do that. Even though it's not exhausting the connections, I think the borrower portal should also have access to that. The provider portal should have access. The escrow account should be able to communicate with the lender portal. The provider should be able to communicate with the lender, and all that. The borrower should be able to communicate in terms of knowing his or her account details and payment options and how much is left to pay. So this is basically a summary of some back-end interconnections and accesses you can make or how it is going to operate. Estimation points. So the state program gave us a period of 6 months to be able to do that, and then we break it down into these various phases. And we are saying that our requirement gathering will be a period of 5 days. Design, we are looking at 4 days to be able to do a prototype or get the concept down within 4 days to establish approvals, 6 days, looking at the business schedules of our stakeholders and business owners. We are looking at within 6 days, we should be able to make a headway. Now, the development phase will take 3 months, and if you look at the development number, it's 4, but we have 4.1, 4.2. So you know that we are going to run all the portals concurrently. If you look at 4.1 servicer, portal, lender, provider, borrower, and then the APIs, all will be done within 3 months. And we are looking at different teams. So if you look at our resource here, we are looking at doing both front and back end. And then we are going to give the servicer portal to our first team, team A, team B, team C, team D, to be able to, and then together they all come together concurrently and also run the front and back end for the APIs and then merge all these connections together. So if you look here, you can see team A, team B, A, B, C, D doing all this together, while the A, B, C, D are going to work on these servicer and then lender provider portals. That is 3 months. Testing and then also doing all our Q&As within a month. We should be able to do all our testing. And then here the results will be application testers. Now deploy in 3 weeks. We are looking at our operation, the operational team of ABS and other committed staffs to be able to come on board to help test and deploy the system. And then also the maintenance phase, we are looking at 2 weeks doing both front and back end, and all the team will be able to come together to do that. Decision making, this is why we are here, and I'm waiting for decisions from my stakeholder and reviewers. Thank you. And this is our business requirement document for you. Hello. Hello, Mr. Stakeholder. Yes, can you hear me?
So questions for Emmanuel Labi.
Emmanuel.
Yes, sir.
Daniel speaking.
Yes, sir, Daniel.
Very great presentation, very great summary on the entire system. Can you kindly go to where you have the diagrams towards the end of your presentation? I didn't understand what was happening there. You have a lot of arrows.
This?
Yes.
Or this?
Yes. This diagram.
Yes. Okay, so thank you. That's fine. That's fine. Thank you. So basically what we're saying here is that depending on who you are, depending on the portal you want to access, provider, borrower, lender, servicer, no matter the end device you are going to use. So you make a request, you go to www.abcfinancialservices.com/portal, or you click on it. Now, you are saying that if you are coming in as a provider and you are making a request as a provider, we have the database that is hosting all our providers and the service. So basically the request will just go here. If you are coming in as a lender or as a borrower, the request will go to our database and then our server, and then the request will start initiating. If you upload any document, whatever we're going to do is just going to, it's just a prototype or how it's going to be. If at your end as a person at the front end, what will be happening also at the back end? Basically, that is what it's showing. Yes. I don't know if you are clear.
Yes, please. I didn't understand why there's no interconnection between any of the, should I say, end users from the diagram. I didn't get that clarity.
Why there's no connection between the end users? Yes. So these are just end users. These are standalone, let me say, standalone machines or end devices. Okay, that are making requests into using our URL to access data from our end. Okay, so the connection between there shouldn't be a connection between this end device and this end device. But then if we need to do a connection, then I think that connection should come between the provider back end to, let's say, the lender. That is where the connection should be, but not necessarily with the end devices. So I think if I should have done some connections between the databases and then the servers. Basically, I think if I'm getting you, the connection should rather be there. If I'm not wrong.
Yes, I've gotten a bit of clarity on it.
Okay, thank you, sir. Yes, so I'm saying that the connection should be between the other end, where you don't see as a user, where you don't see as someone who is a borrower who wants to access our facility. You wouldn't see that, but I think I should have established connections between, especially borrower, provider, lender, and even servicer, lender. Yes, there should be some connection there. Thank you.
Yeah, so I think his question over here, which for me, if you scroll down just a little bit, scroll down just no, up. Okay, no. Oh. Scroll down just slow. Okay, here. I think what he was saying, maybe what I'm thinking for him might not also be accurate, but I fully get it when you put, that green rectangular box over there. I understand the architecture from a different level of how the database from maybe the provider, the lender, the borrower, ABC, etc. That layer in there tells me that we basically have the same the database infrastructure is still the same. But I'm thinking what he was asking maybe is that why is it that you're not connecting the silos, the database silos, the containers over there, because they're not supposed to be a separate database by themselves sitting somewhere, right? They're supposed to be connected in a way. You attempted the architecture, great, but they're supposed to be. It's not supposed to be segregated. It's supposed to be connected to each other. That the database is supposed to be talking to each other and not by themselves.
Okay, perfect. Well understood. Okay, well understood. Thank you, sir.
Yes, guys. Any question for Emmanuel? Anything that you guys did not understand, you want him to clarify, or you want him to maybe hone on something, on a point? All right, I'm gonna go around. Daniel, you don't have any question for him. Emmanuel Okuamu, you don't have any question. Gideon and Nansen, Joseph, Joshua, Isaac Osebonsu, you don't have any question. Penelope, Salim, Samuel Clotte, and William. You guys all don't have questions for. Okay.
You are putting it to the bench, so you don't even ask questions. What is happening?
I am not sure whether they are scared of Ibadolabi or not.
At this point, I'm giving don't mind this guy. You won't take his work, so we be asking. You waste his time. Is that what you are thinking?
I'm not sure why you guys are not.
I think that as the presentations kept going, I mean, some of the questions and things it was answered. So it's more or less like now when you ask, we kind of get a clear idea of the presentation and stuff. So the questions came in more from the first people right down to the middle. But to the latter part, it looks like the questions are reducing because the answers looks quite clear. So I think that's the reason. This is here.
Yeah, true.
Okay. Great presentation. First thing that I'm going to talk about is your sound. Okay. Your sound. So at some point in time, and sometime throughout the entire presentation, your voice kept muffling in, and I don't know, are you using a headset or something?
I'm using an earpiece.
You're using an earpiece, yes. And I think the microphone might be sticking out closer to your mouth or something like that. And so, you kept going in and out, and you kept muffling in as well. There was no clarity. So you need to maybe work on that audio, devices that you're using, a headset or headphones, earpiece, whatever might be the case. You need to work on that because the best word that I use to describing that kind of audio quality is that it's very painful to listen. Okay. And if you're gonna have stakeholders who are listening in, this is gonna be very painful. It's like watching GTV. It's very painful to watch GTV in Ghana. Ghana television. Ghana television. Back in maybe they have improved, but back in the days, it was very painful to watch Ghana television. Very painful. Wow. But overall, so my general feedback. I know we have about 5 minutes left. Jennifer, of all the presentation that you guys have done, you're the last person, right? We don't have any other, but let me see. Do we have? I think you're the last person. I'll go ahead with my general feedback. So Isaac did it today. Emmanuel Tulabi, you yourself, that's the last person. Gideon, Nana Kwesi. Who's Nana Kwesi on my list? It looks like I've never seen this person. Emmanuel Bebe. Okay. Joseph Echampon. Joseph, you already did your presentation, right?
Yes, please.
Okay. Salim, yeah, you already did. Gideon, Reed. Is Reed here today? No. Reed is not here today, right? Okay. And he was also not here yesterday. Was Reed on yesterday?
Reed. I didn't. Okay, you very well. I will deal with all of that. I know we're gonna be removing a couple of people here because the assignment comes in late and then they also don't show up as well. We have about 3 people or so to remove from here. Okay, all right. And then I also have okay, so yes, my general impression about the presentation so far. I think you guys have all done well, right? So you guys have all done well with the embedded lending product, and I can only imagine that the second project, church project, and e-commerce, and all the other ones that will be coming up will only get better, right? Because you guys have learned a lot. You guys have been inspired from other presenters as well. And, you guys take a cue from them. And so my expectation is very high. I am very upbeat about, the amazing stuff that you guys will do next for other, future presentations, if there's going to be one. So good job to all of you. Some of you have, I'm beginning to, as this presentation goes on and some of you chime in, ask questions,
You know, I'm beginning to know all of you as well. As people come in, the clarity of their understanding of the subject matter, what we are discussing, the project itself, you know, how they're able to probe into your thinking pattern and your thinking process, and you know how you're able to come up with, you know, your requirement definitions, etc. I'm beginning to learn from you guys, and you know what has been put out here, and so this is good, right? This is great, you know. Um, so keep up with the good work. You know, I love everything that you guys have done with this first project presentations. Almost about 10, no, 12, 13 people who have presented in the past week or so. So this is good, guys. Again, we've talked about some of these things. Stick to what the stakeholder gives you, okay? When the stakeholder says, I want A, I want B, I want C, I want D, E, and F, make sure that you stick to what the stakeholder is giving you. What's going to happen if you put in extra stuff is that you will have to estimate on the extra stuff, and the project is going to be prolonged, right? Unnecessarily. And nobody wants to do that. We want to be able to ship out as early as yesterday. And so adding new features and adding extra stuff, etc. If only it is approved by the stakeholder. If you went in back to stakeholder and say, well, these are the possibilities. These are the things that can be done with the project. You know, we thought about it and, you know, work with the development team and, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then, you know, these are all the possibilities in there. If they agree to it, and if they agree to the budget as well, keep in mind, or you guys should be mindful about this as well, that project is all about money as well, right? Because we're going to be spending hours, right? There's going to be man hours on this. And so adding new features, add additional possibilities, etc., will only mean that we'll have to go for additional budget as well, right? So keep that in mind. As we're thinking about schedule, estimation, all these things, features, it's cool, whatever, you know, but keep in mind that you can only do things that, you know, you guys have already have a budget approved for it, right? Very important. And also, as you put the, you know, the requirement documents together, one key thing that is also very, very important is value, right? You know, there's got to be value for every feature that is in there. There are two types of value that you guys should always look at: the value for the organization you work for, and then the value for the customer, right? We want to be able to deliver a product that, you know, the customer will be happy about it because they pay money, you know, for it. There has to be value for money, right? We want product that will deliver exceptional user experience and, you know, great customer satisfaction, etc. And so when we're delivering something, we always make sure that, okay, this is what is going to solve the customer's problem, and the trading, they parting away with money, they'll be happy with it, right? And of course, when we do that, we also want to be able to translate that also into ROI for us as an organization. So ROI is return on investment, right? We as an organization, we are not working for free, right? We're working to make sure that we can also bring in something in. And so every feature that we build, we got to make sure that what is the return on investment? What is the, you know, the ROI on the product that, you know, we're putting out there, you know, we're deploying out as well. So keep that in mind. I want you guys to keep that in mind as well. Be detailed. I know I've loved some of you, your presentation. You know, some of you as well. You guys have to learn from what you know, what you've seen so far. Be detailed. Be thorough. Don't rush. There's no need for you to, you know, rush through anything, right? As part of, you know, requirement elicitation process, you know, there are several stakeholder engagement. Of course, we did not have ample time. I didn't get to meet you guys on, we only met once, and still I'm proud of what you guys have done. I know that if we had maybe gotten the opportunity to, if we had the opportunity to maybe meet 2, 3, 4, maybe different occasions, I know the requirement would have been refined, and you guys could have even done even better. I love all that you guys have been saying, Joshua, your level of the depth of understanding the process, everything. I mean, I'm listening to all of you. You guys are doing, you've done so well. So keep up. Next project, I'm gonna do well to maybe circle back with you guys, maybe get 1 or 2 interactions and interface with you guys, make sure that there's clarity on the requirement. And of course, in real life or in real world situation, you guys will have that opportunity to interface with the stakeholder a couple of times to get clarity. So if you have questions, you need answers to something, there's always going to be like an opportunity to do that. And so no worries about that. But be thorough, be detailed. Don't rush it. Don't just put 2 sentences together, whatever. If you need to write 3 pages, 4 pages to just explain the solution overview, project overview, hey guy, I'm gonna tell you to go for it, right? Be detailed. Let your audience know, right? Communicate to your audience. Let them know that, yeah, okay, this is what we are heading into. This is the problem statement. This is the solution overview. This is what we want to do. So don't rush it. Just be detailed. And that's why, and I have so many templates. I've worked on different projects. I have so many templates that I will share as well with you guys on BLDs, SRS, technical design, specification documentation. There are different document templates that when I get the opportunity, when I have a second, I will share for you guys as well. So you use all those documents as what? Pointers. Make sure that you are bringing in some ideas from this document. Make sure you are being inspired from this. Don't just do something on the side and just submit, turn it in. I'm looking at all these things, people who are following the structure, the pattern of, some of the template I've shared with you. It's very important, right? This exercise is sort of to get you guys groomed, refined on how, a modern day, an American type of, environment. This is how we work, right? Yeah, I don't care about what you have been doing in Ghana and whatever project you've been on, etc. But I want to get you to a level where you can rock the same muscles with, talk, class organizations. And of course, some of these documents I'm sharing with you, some of them will be Fortune 500, companies here. And when we say Fortune 500 companies, I want you guys to just research it, right? I've worked with different Fortune 500 companies. And, when I share something, that is a document that is being used by such an organization. So the level of detail, the technical design there, they are really apt and they are really first class. So keep in mind, make sure that you are detailing out your work in that manner. But overall, I'm impressed. You guys have done well. I know it's not everybody here. And again, like I always say, you guys have seen me say this countless times, that be tolerant, right? I want you guys to be tolerant with everybody. Because not everybody here comes from an engineering background, right? Not everybody here comes from an engineering background. So that's why I always say, be tolerant with everybody. Again, you have the right to probe into whatever they put out. You have the right to question, okay, what were you thinking here? And I love everything that you guys have been doing. So this is good so far. Thank you. Again, in the course of the week, expect some assignment to come in. Make sure that you taking the assignment in and you turning your assignment in on time as well. And that's it for me. It's already 8 o'clock. We've already gone 7 minutes over, but that's okay. Thank you guys, and have a great week.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you too.
Thank you too so much, and have a great week yourself.